Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the OCVarsity Football Wrap-Up Show. Second round of the playoffs are in the books, Dan. Not as crazy and hectic and the wild finish that we had last week, but still some pretty cool things happen, as always, in Orange County football, week after week, especially in the playoffs, a lot at stake. We'll start with the Division I games. You were at Mater Dei, Long Beach Poly. I looked at the score, 55-13, Mater Dei wins. I figured Mater Dei would win, but 55-13? Did you see that coming?
No, and I don't think Mater Dei did either. You know, Coach Rollinson didn't see it coming. I mean, this is Long Beach Poly has many, you know, this is one of their big Division I rivals, Southern California rival. You know, these guys have played in some epic games in Division I finals, so you don't expect to see a running clock in the fourth quarter.
Oh, running clock against Poly. Ooh,
that doesn't happen too often to Long Beach Poly. So, but you know, the story was, you know, Mater Dei brought a lot of emotion to this game. They had the drums going pregame as they warmed up, and then, you know, JT Daniels got warmed up big time. Threw for 299 yards, 3 TDs, ran for 2 TDs, and he had a spectacular 4-yard leaping touchdown, almost a Josh Webb-esque from Garden Grove. And then you can imagine the Mater Dei faithful all held their collective breath, like, oh my gosh, our junior quarterback, how's he going to land? Coach Rollinson thought maybe he got hit in the helmet, his foot got hit in the helmet as he soared over this defender, but he was okay and he scored. And, you know, JT's selling out and all the Mater Dei guys are playing super hard. Elias Ricks, sophomore defensive back, 2 interceptions against Matt Corral. So
wow, they're deep in the backfield, aren't they?
They got it and they locked it down in the second half, beat Poly in the second half, Mr. Fryer, 28-0. I saw Poly barely get past. I saw Mission Viejo barely get past Long Beach Poly earlier. Yeah. So, and then you look at Mater Dei does to Long Beach Poly. So
and they play next week. That's what we're getting to. Yeah. Mission Viejo, Mater Dei next week.
Your game was there was no running clock in your game. I mean, tell us about Mission Viejo was having a tough time with Olu, you know, that winless team from the Trinity League. I guess they deserve to be in the playoffs if they lose and push Mission Viejo 48-35.
Yeah, they made them earn it.
They showed they belong.
Mission Viejo led throughout the game. Well, the game was tied, but they never trailed in this game. But I tell you what, you know, Achille Arnold ran for 313 yards and 5 touchdowns, like the runs like 60 yards, 80 yards, 58 yards. Yeah. Just great stuff. Good blocking, of course. He's got a great O-line. But once you get into that second tier of the defense, he was just outrunning dudes, man. Yeah. Just kept the sideline going. They couldn't catch him. This guy was a guy who wasn't starting for Mission Viejo early in the season. You know, Jamari Farrell broke his leg in the La Habra game. And darn it, this guy comes in and, you know, all-county-looking guy, offensive player of the week, 313 yards, probably, you know. But that was pretty interesting. And, you know, Yellen had a couple good throws and a couple not-so-good throws. The junior quarterback at Mission. Orange Lutheran hung in there like they always do. You know, they always got character dudes over there at Orange Lutheran. They battled. They just got beat by a team that had better players. Yeah, and Mission Viejo getting the job done without Christian Lavelle there. You know, standout all-county type contender linebacker, Arizona State commit, out with a foot injury. Right. So they, you know, had to hang tough, and that's a real big loss for them. Yeah, he's done because he tore a ligament in that right ankle. Also plays a lot of offense too. Yeah. So you know that Mission Viejo offense, they find ways. They played the matchups. You know, they got the great receivers. You know, Osborne and Griffin. And then now they're coming back with this, you know, with Achille having a great year. He just picked up where he was last week against in the second half against Servite. He was running wild too. So now we got it. You know, Mission Viejo, 12-0, number 2 in Orange County against number 1 Mater Dei, 12-0. Bob Johnson's last game, potentially. You know, could it be Bob Johnson's last game? This could have been Bob Johnson's last game. I know. And then you got, you know, rolling in another third straight Trinity League team for the Diablos, as you call them, the honorary members of the. How did they like that nickname? Are they happy about their honorary status in the Trinity League? Saint Mission Viejo. Ooh, that's what I'm calling them. Yeah, you know, but that's how it is in Division I. You know, they played Santa Margarita and beat them in non-league, and then they beat Servite last week, Orange Lutheran this evening. Then they got Mater Dei, and then, you know, maybe they play Bosco in the finals. They get there. Or Centennial. You know what? You know, but I think this is, you know, for Coach Johnson and the way those guys, you know, the kind of career he's had, they want to play the best. Sure. And I know Mission Viejo's actually they have had their eyes on the Monarchs
all year, and they're getting what they want. I think they'll play pretty well.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Hey, another thing, Division II, Oaks Christian beat Edison. You know, Edison loses. Good season for Jeff Grady in his first year, you know, as the head coach over there. Lost Oaks Christian. You know, I think that's kind of like goes to form. I want to skip really quickly to Division III. El Toro. You're talking about teams that were scoring big. El Toro, Cooper Jones, quarterback, guy we're going to look at when the All Orange County meeting comes up. 5 touchdown passes again. 3 guys had 100 yards in receiving or more. That great group of receivers got with Aguilar, Derrico, and McLaughlin, all with 100 yards plus receiving. Yeah. So El Toro moves on to the semifinals too.
You know, great. You know, Chargers have been unsung. You know, in the semifinals as the runner-up from the Seaview League, Cooper Jones. I mean, these last 2 weeks, he's probably thrown for almost 800 yards and probably
fantastic
about
stuff.
8 or 9 touchdowns. He's been on fire. And Lompok's real good running back. Didn't play in this game, but they still ran it pretty well. They were undefeated, 3rd seed in that division, I believe, in Division III. I mean, El Toro. I mean, what a run they've had. You know, tremendous.
Sure. And they played such a badass schedule. You know, that non-league schedule. They about as tough a non-league schedules as we saw all over Orange County football this year, except for like Mater Dei playing national stuff and all that. But Division IV, Capistrano Valley. Plays like the #1 seed. They're undefeated, 12-0. Yeah. 34-7 over Damien of Laverne. Nice win for Capo. Corona del Mar goes down. They lose to Downey, which is a really good team, 49-42. Tell you what, Capo Valley Downey next week is going to be a heck of a game. Yeah. And then San Juan Hills, nice little run. They won a playoff game last week. Gunnins at large, and they lost to Cajon 42-21. Fountain Valley Division 6, they lose kind of big to Golden Valley, 41-14. I think Golden Valley was seeded 2nd in the division. Let's look at Division 7.
Well, I want to say something about the Cougars back in Division 4.
Yeah.
12-0, they matched their best, the most victories in school history.
Is that 12-0. Right? Yeah.
So that's a big deal.
Even when they won the title in 91?
Yeah, I mean, that's the best start since then. 12-0. And, their average is going to actually go down. It's not easy for them to lower their average of points allowed, right? They have the best defensive in the county statistically, and they became an average in only allowed 9, so they allow 7, so their average is going to go down. So tremendous job by the Cougars.
Okay, we talk about Division 6. Division 7, Yorba Linda lost to Don Lugo of Chino Hills 41-24, and then U-Tartans at St. Margaret's. Good for you guys. You beat Fullerton 34-28. Yeah, Fullerton was without a couple guys who got suspended in the fight. They got suspended.
Well, their best 2 guys. Though.
Yeah, and you know what? And I saw the video of that. I've seen worse stuff happen, and guys didn't get disciplined like those guys. But hey, that's the way it is. Hey, good for St. Margaret's.
Yeah, and the St. Margaret's kicker, Chris Barantanian, kicked 2 real, I think,
clutch-a-roos.
Clutch-a-roos, right?
Yeah, so good for St. Margaret's. And they're going to play El Medina next week, and that's going to be very interesting to see that. Yeah. Man, if you Tartans beat Elmo next week, am I going to wear a St. Margaret's jersey, around the office or something like that? Because that would be rather fantastic for that. Yeah, I wish I hadn't said that now. But and then El Medina wins too. No, I'm not wearing a kilt or anything like that. Brian Patterson, our boss back there. El Medina 35-7 over Diamond Ranch. AJ Esperanza had another fine game for them. He's and signed as letter of intent as a baseball guy too, so he's a well-rounded kid over there. Garden Grove lose to Silverado. I don't think that's a big shocker there, 35-20.
Garden Grove, no points in the second half of that game.
Oh, yucks. Division 9 Cypress, man.
Yeah.
Kept going. I bet you Ashcraft had another good game.
That
Ashcraft, little long-haired quarterback, 5 foot whatever's.
160 yards. 3 touchdowns, and they did this without last week. They lost. Speaking of injury, we talked about Christian Lavelle.
Yeah.
Centurions lost their fine sophomore running back, rising sophomore Isaac Hurtado.
That was good.
To an injury last week. He's out for the year. But I noticed that this kid Dennis ran for 16 times for over 100 yards, and that helped balance that attack. And Cypress, at-large team going to the semifinals of the Empire League. I guess the Empire League, and they're the last team standing in the Empire League because Pacifica lost. Tustin lost, Valencia lost. It's Centurions and Coach Feldman.
That league was really good this year, man. I'm glad they got a team that's still out there. Woodbridge lost to Mayfair pretty big, 42-7, Division 9. Moving on to Division 10, Pacifica, talking about the Empire League, they got cooked by Valley View. of Moreno
Yeah.
Valley, 59-28.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that one for sure.
Yeah, I was too, man.
I thought this was, still a great year for Pacifica, but I thought this was going to be a CIF title type of season for them. But tough, obviously that's that offense. I mean, this is a team that their defense, I should say, the Mariners' defense. When they really needed that Valencia win, they won 14-0. And
Yeah.
this score kind of reminds me of what happened to them against Cyprus. They lost that one game and they gave up a ton of points, and they didn't have it on the defensive end tonight.
Look at Valley View's at like their average scores per game, kind of close. They've been scoring in like the 40s and the 50s a lot. On to Division 11, the Catella Knights in the semis. They've had a couple tough early exits in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
They're in the semis. They're playing pretty well. They won in overtime against Arcadia. I was kind of following this game along on Twitter, and I didn't think Catella was going to pull this thing out, but obviously they pulled out an OT, 41-35. Like that
Orange
team. I
League
like
champs.
Nathan Arrington, like those guys.
Yeah, they've won now. They've won 11 games in a row. They lost their opener and haven't lost since. They're on.
Lost to Kennedy, got shut out 14-zip.
And they had some weird thing. They were trying a new offense, and then they've won 11 in a row.
That's the funniest thing to me.
This was a good. Arcadia team had high hopes in Division 11.
Right.
Came from a very tough Pacific League. They played some big schools in that area, and Catella and Fred De Palma representing the Orange League, big time.
The battle for La Ciudad, the Santa Ana, 35 over Godinez, 35-6. Good for Sammy Saint, man. That team looks good. I think I picked them to win that division.
Yeah.
I hope I did. But
I hope you did too.
I do now. I really do.
Yeah.
But hey, Pacheco ran for 100 some odd yards. Macias did his usual two-way activity.
Yep.
So he was really great as usual. And then the Panthers of Orange, Panther Pride, they beat Rio Hondo Prep 27-14. So good for the Panthers. They're in the semifinals. Remember last year they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Man, they had to be hungry for this playoff run. And here they're in the semis. Good for you guys, man.
Yeah,
Good job, Orange.
Yeah, and JoJo Martinez back, 179 yards, 2 touchdowns for Orange. Just running the ball well. He had a big game in the first round too. And last night I was at Garden Grove and I saw La Quinta in Division 13 punch their ticket to the semifinals, first time since 1989. So we still have the hope of having that great Orange County, all Orange County final in the Division 13, Orange and La Quinta. So, two teams, that would be fabulous. And I've been real impressed. La Quinta looked pretty darn good last night. They rolled past Webb and, Michael Nadeau, and they got a lot of receivers.
Yeah.
They run it well. And maybe they don't have the speed that Orange has, but they have a lot of weapons, and they have a real good quarterback. If they can, both those teams are pretty solid teams. That's good ball.
Dylan Doe's good, and he Doe's good. Those guys tackle. The La Quinta's pretty good, and Andy Diaz is a great coach, and he's a fun guy to talk to after a game. He's a real cool guy.
Yep.
So that's what happened, man. We tried to run it through pretty good. Gee, Dan, I don't think we left anything out. I think we talked about every game we had. Got the semifinals coming up this coming week. We're going to be all fat and sassy after a nice Thanksgiving dinner, but we're going to be ready to hit the ground running for the semifinals next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on as we get ready for the semifinals. We got the video thing going on with Jonathan Camus next week. Got our semifinals capsules. Probably pop in a couple features. And we got the games coming up on Friday. Mission Viejo, Mater Day, Capistrano Valley, Downey. La Quinta's still alive. El Medina's going to play St. Margaret's. Semis are going to be great. Thanks a lot for hanging out with us, everybody.